are going to change lives here today, and I'm so excited. The whole purpose and mission, women need to invest.
So, who remembers Tracy from last year? Yeah. So I am now an investor, except for I can't figure out the portal. So Tracy definitely is going to help me this weekend. I've tried 3 times, but I'm committed to an investment with Tracy's hotel acquisition program, which we're going to talk about. So I met Tracy on Clubhouse. We were in a room, and somehow we connected, and we said, let's have a call offline. And I said, my mission is to get women to invest. And she goes, well, wait till you hear my mission. I was like, wow. So please start there, if you, yeah. So, Mike. Oh, you got one in your seat. Go, Mike. Yeah.
You want me to start with She Has a Deal, or?
Whatever you want, but yeah, I think so. Okay. Or do you want to start with how you, I guess we should start with your hotel acquisition. The first one. Yeah, we'll start there. We'll start there and then we'll go to here.
Okay, so actually I was investing in residential properties like many of you. So I started out, really, when I think back, I was interviewed not too long ago, and it came to me that I started investing in real estate. I went gung-ho because I was in a job that I hated, and I quit without another job. And at the time, my financial advisor gave me Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and my mom, who was an insomniac, was watching TV in the middle of the night and sent me a whole kit for Carlton Sheets about real estate investing right about the same time. So I figured out later that I went all in because I felt like employment was not secure. And when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Cash Flow Quadrant, I mean, I jumped all in. It really transformed my life. So I believe in starting where you are. And I didn't have a lot of money, but I just would buy one home at a time. And then I would refinance, take the cash out, and go buy another one. So for all you who don't like debt, it works. I'm telling you, it works. It's okay. So that's how I got started. And then we went through the recession, we were going through the recession, or actually it was the bubble first. When the bubble was going, I couldn't find any more properties that cash flowed. So I said, well, I'm gonna have to invest in commercial real estate, which is my dream. It was my dream all the time to invest in commercial, but I thought only rich people invested in commercial real estate. So I thought I was gonna play Monopoly and I was gonna buy all these homes, and then one day, I'd probably be dead by then, I would buy, and I didn't think about hotels at the time, I just said I would buy commercial real estate. But during the bubble, when I couldn't find anything to buy, because it didn't cash flow, when everyone was buying homes, and like it was shoes, so I decided, well, let me take a class in commercial real estate, because you should always be prepared. So I'm gonna get prepared before I have the money so I understand how it works. And in that class, it was a CCIM class, my instructor said something about syndication. And I said, send us into what? And when he told us about syndication, I mean, I got on a plane, I flew back then you couldn't download stuff. Like I bought a book, I flew to Las Vegas to take classes with the guru of syndication. And I knew that was my ticket to get into commercial real estate was syndication. And so I just needed an asset class that I could get excited about. And at the time, I traveled extensively for work, and I stayed in a lot of hotels. And so when I found out that hotels were, a special asset class, again, I still didn't think I could buy one because I was used to staying in hotels like this, and like I could never buy that. But I read an article with Bill Marriott, and coincidentally, last night, the same hotel that I stayed in when I had the epiphany, I stayed there last night. I had the epiphany to buy a hotel. It was at Hampton Inn in Aventura. And I woke up, literally, I went to bed thinking, oh, this is a great bargain because they have free Wi-Fi and they had free breakfast. And at the time, I was used to full service hotels and they used to charge you back in the day. And so, yeah, I woke up saying, I should buy a hotel. And then I just started that journey of trying to figure out how to buy a hotel. I'm talking a lot.
Very good, yeah, we're all engaged, we're in the
All right, so anyway, so I went on this journey to buy a hotel, and I foolishly, and I wouldn't say foolishly, but ambitiously, right? You don't know what you don't know. I put a hotel under contract like 18 months later, and I failed. Where's our failure later? Where's Patty? She's gone.
Yeah, she had to go to the airport.
She had to go, so I failed because of SBA. I failed. So my SBA loan was not approved. They voted, it was at 504, they voted 3-2, no, you can't be successful. And this was actually the Great Recession. This was 2008, during the Great Recession. So I put this hotel under contract. I had paperwork, I had inspections, appraisal, everything. And all I needed was the SBA to say yes. And my SBA contact was like, oh, you're good. Oh yeah, no, we just have to go to committee. And then I literally felt like I was broken up with. And what I did was I retreated, so that's what I don't recommend. So when that happened, I basically felt like a failure, kind of retreated. I still had a day job, so I went back to day job, and it was a recession. Everybody said no one had money. So I just kind of went back and continued to buy single family rentals. But I never forgot that that was my aspiration, to buy a hotel. And so after a lot went on, from getting married, having a baby, losing both of my parents, having neck surgery, everything, one day I'm like, who am I? What am I doing? I'm working in healthcare. I just worked on Obamacare. And I was like, something's wrong with me. I'm just not feeling like I'm meeting my full potential. I'm like, I really wanted to buy a hotel. I want to buy hotels. So anyway, I picked it back up, and finally, I decided that I was going to do it no matter what. So my mother used to always say, put up or shut up. And so right after I had my baby, I was like, okay, I'm either going to do this or I'm not. So I'm going to go full force, all in. And I went around looking for deals. I ended up investing in somebody else's deal. I heard a couple people talk about that. I became LP on somebody else's deal. And while that was helpful in a way, I would never do it again, wrong partner. But nevertheless, I did go out, found a deal, put a syndication together, and closed on my first deal, which was at Hampton Inn in Maryland. So the total project cost was $11.4 million. And with hotels, you generally have to do some type of renovation. So part of it was the acquisition at 7.8. And then the rest was closing costs and the renovation. So we raised the money to do the renovation and put it in escrow. So 100 keys.
How, 11 million, and much was the loan?
So the loan was $8 million. So I raised like 3.2.
And how much did you put in?
So here's a little trick. So, I don't know if it's a trick or not, but
this is the first trick of the day.
I'm gonna call it a trick. Strategy. Where's our tax guy? Strategy. So what I did was, I upfronted everything, for the all the due diligence, everything. Not cheap. So I spent, I probably had into the deal $600,000. Wow, 600. But that was like
that covered.
Well, so I had I had to put some money in for equity to start, because what happened was some of my investors who were going to use their IRA, they were just slow. All my friends, they're like corporate people, and they're just like, yeah, I'm going to invest. I'm like, there's a lot of paperwork. But so anyway, I had to put some of my money in to close, but I got it back out. But the beautiful thing about it is that, when you put a syndication together, while I fronted all that money, I got 100% of it back. Once we closed, and then once I raised the remaining balance. But my strategy is that I did an acquisition fee. So you get compensated in the syndication for all the work you do and the risk that you take on, and taking on the risk of the loan. So I'm the signer on the loan, I'm the signer on the franchise agreement. We focus on franchised hotels. And so what I did was I took my acquisition fee and I rolled it into as LP.
Yeah.
So I, get the same return. So I didn't use any of my own cash.
What percentage do you take for an acquisition fee?
2%. Yeah. So and then that way it's not taxable. So the way we with this tax strategy is roll that acquisition fee. Because if I would have taken that, that would have been taxed at like, I don't know, lots of money.
Right.
Yeah.
So you closed on that, and what was it? Immediate success, like, and then you got another one.
Yeah, then I did. A year later, bought another one in the same neighborhood, kind of down the street. So that was a lot easier. So the first one, as far as raising capital, believe it, for me, I knew from a business sense, I said, I can do this, but I don't know if I can raise the money. Because I knew I had like, $600,000, $700,000, but I didn't have 3.2 million. So syndication was my only way to get into the business. And I felt comfortable that I could run the business and be successful, but I had no idea if I could raise the money. So I had a strategy. I had done my homework, I'd studied this stuff, but I didn't know if it was gonna work. But what I had to get straight was my mindset that I could. So I literally put that hotel under contract with, I didn't have $3.2 million. I did not know where it was gonna come from. I had a strategy, but I didn't know if the strategy was gonna work. So it was a bit scary. But the next time, it was like people were coming out the woodwork. And so I had to turn people away for the second syndication, which was about $3 million.
And you still own those 2 hotels?
Still own those 2 hotels. And so as you talk about success in the beginning, so I like to be real. So in the beginning, like the money, the cash was flowing in, everything was great. We were meeting all our targets. Our first year with the first hotel, I had about 16% cash on cash.
Wow.
The first year, yeah. And so distributing, and then it was time for that big renovation, which there was a big hurricane, I think. So prices shot up on materials. So we had budgeted $2.6 million, and it cost 3.2.
But did you have to do a capital call?
I did not do a capital call. I got another story about a capital call. But nevertheless, I got scrappy and strategic, took American Express loan on our receipts, on a merchant account. Wow. Right, so I took out a loan on the merchant account, only 3.5% interest. That's pretty better than a capital call, right? That's cheaper.
Yeah.
I used some of my own personal money, loaned the company some of my money, and so we got through it. And we got it done, we're back to profitable. But then guess what happened? COVID.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you.
Initially, horribly, right? Everything, they basically said stay home. Every meeting, phones were ringing, cancel. So it was like down. One of our hotels, I bought another hotel in 2019, and that was the wrong time to buy a hotel, because we had just gotten started and we were like ramping up, and we were at like 78% occupancy. And then when they said stay home, it was like that. Some nights we had like 1%. It was crazy, 1%, 2%. It was the worst time. I don't think I've ever had a more stressful time. For me personally, I was like, okay, I'll be okay. But I have all these people's money, like $10 million of investors' money. And so if the investors were like, are we gonna lose our money? What's gonna happen? But what I knew intrinsically, for myself, is that I'm gonna do everything possible to make sure that my investors at least get their money back. And I was on calls with them. I proactively communicated, and we had to furlough people. We had to lay people off. We got real scrappy, with operations, and because if you only have I think 17 people in the house, you could do a lot of things. But we learned how to be more efficient, which was great. Long story short, I did everything possible, and I like to feel, hopefully my investors feel the same way, that that I did everything in my power. So, we're back to profitability in 2 of the hotels, or 3 of the hotels, and 1 we are just getting back to profitability. But I mean, I went after PPP, EIDL, I mean, you name it, every grant program that was out there, I worked my butt off. I mean, if you're gonna be a sponsor, you know, and syndicate deals, you are taking on a fiduciary duty and you need to take it really seriously. And I do take it very seriously. The fact that people have trusted me with some of them their retirement money and all of that. But I did feel like when COVID hit, that it was horrible. And I worked night and day, you know, trying to get that money and strategizing with my management team on how we were gonna survive. But I did internally, I was like, we're gonna make it. You know, we're gonna make it. Called my lenders, I was proactive with our lenders. Some were helpful, others were like, it's not our problem.
Yeah. What percentage of women own hotels?
So it's less than 1%.
How about minority women?
We can 0.0000.
Why do you have the mission that you have?
Yeah, so when I got started, as I said, I woke up in this hotel and then I started Googling and I started going to conferences and I was floored by how many men, how many women there weren't there. There were so many men everywhere. And I'm like, where are the women?
Don't find a date there.
So yeah, it's a very male-dominated business. So there's women in hospitality. You know, you go to the hotel, we work there, we reached the ranks of general manager. We're still low, but we're up there. But when you go to ownership, it's like this. When
Did I send you the picture? So I was at Tracy Mooney's event in Orlando.
Yes.
I sent you this picture.
Yes.
Did I send a video of it? Was it a video or just a picture?
It was a video with Sheila. You talking about Sheila?
No, the women. So when Stacy has this fabulous event in Orlando,
Okay.
and the Best Western hotel chain is having an event.
Oh,
And in the box, and the way out in the lobby, there was 5 women sitting. I go, "Are you hotel owners?" And they're like, "We wish." I go, "Oh!" And I took a picture. I said, "You need to look up Tracy Prigmore. You need to find out what she's doing, and you guys need to." And I showed you the picture.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's a lot of men. That's all I'm gonna say. So when I was okay, so what's got me to start She Has a Deal was that when I was trying to get in, I would ask, you know, people. I was trying to get help. I mean, I was this crazy woman that would go up to some strange man that he spoke on a panel, he sounded good. Will you be my mentor? And they're like, no. Like, I'm busy, too busy. Like, I couldn't find information in the way that I needed it to take on the risk to be successful, in my opinion. I mean, I kind of put it all together myself. It took me way too long to do, I believe, but there just weren't enough women, and so in my head, I had it all figured out how they could get more women in the industry. And then once I broke in and I went to conferences and we would have like speed networking or whatever, and I'd meet a woman and she'd be like, "Oh, well, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a hotel owner." She'd go, "Who do you work for?" "No, I'm a hotel owner." Yeah. And it's just like, really? Like, what do you own? Right? And they think, "Oh, it's a bed and breakfast." Right? No, I own hotels. They're not big hotels like this, but you know, I own, you know, branded hotels, etc. So anyway, it took me way too long. It was very challenging, and I knew other women were interested because they would come to me or they asked me to go to dinner, drinks, coffee, what have you. And so I didn't want it to be so hard for other women to get into the business. And so the first thing I wanted to do was to tell someone else to do it, right? So I went to the brand, I went to Hilton, and I went to Marriott because I'm a franchisee, and I said, "Hey, you guys said you want more women and people of color as well owning hotels. This is what you need to do." I gave them a blueprint, like do this, you'll get more people. And they're like, "Oh, this is great, yeah." For 2 years, we did, you know, these conversations. And then finally I woke up one day, again, I get epiphany, and I'm like, I have to do this because it was on my mind all the time. And it was in my head. So after a conversation with the head of development for Marriott, I just started putting the pen to paper, and I decided, like, you know, women need to be exposed and inspired that you can do this, right? Syndication works if you don't have your own money, and even people with their own money don't do it with their own money, right? And so that was first, was like, let women know it can be done. It can be done. And then 2, but you have to have education. but not the education you read in a book, not that you get at a conference, or the kind of education that you learn in school. So I created an educational platform that was really more that mentor education from somebody who had experienced it. So it's everything I wish I knew that would have kept me out of falling into some holes, and everything I learned along the way. And then I got all industry leaders that helped me, and then other people that I admired, to provide education to the women. So we do a self-study online, and then we have live Zoom classes. And so we teach everything. I created a 9-stage hotel investment roadmap, so it helps you step through everything from, how do you even find the deal? How do you do your market analysis? How you underwrite it? And most importantly for many of us is, how do you raise capital? Where do you get the money? Because most people don't have their own money to do it.
And so she has a student program for college student women that I went last year and watched the judging, and it was one of the best things I ever did. And I'm going next Wednesday.
Yes,
she came here a week before her event, 3-4 day event next week. So
yeah, they're texting me like crazy. I'm like, leave me alone, I'm at Beth's event.
And now you're doing a program for adult women, non-students.
Non-students. So yeah, so we have I didn't even say that, right? We have a pitch competition. So what I did when I put the program together, I'm like, okay, how do we make sure that the women solidify the learning, right? Because we all know this stuff, we learn stuff, and if you don't apply it real time, you forget it. And we wanted to lock in the learning, so I said, hey, let's do a pitch competition, because everybody loves a competition, and everybody's doing pitch competitions, and women founders, this, that, and the other. So we have a pitch competition where the women, while they're learning, they go out, find a deal, do all the work, and then they pitch it before a panel of industry leader judges as well as investors.
Unbelievable.
She's going to be a judge. You're going to be a judge.
She's going to be a judge next week. But last year you had Marriott and all these major hotel chain judges.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so they're still judging too, but we have 2 components now. So last year was just early career, which is women who are in college or just graduated. And then this year we have today's woman, so it's like for myself, like someone like myself, what I wish I would have had, which was someone to walk me through and help me through all of this. And then, and they have experience in hospitality or any industry really. Half of the women that are in this year's competition have experience in hospitality. The other half are in a whole other industry. We have a couple of brokers, and then we have some people who own real estate who want, like myself, add hotels to their portfolio. So it's next week. It's going to be so exciting. We're live streaming, or we still have tickets if you want to come, but it's in McLean, Virginia at the Hilton Innovation Gallery. And as Beth said, we have on our judging panel some of the industry leaders from brands to financing. We even have somebody from Blackstone this year. Yes, and Wells Fargo. I'm trying to build these relationships because capital is still a challenge.
They should be involved. Like you said, you went to them, and I did the same thing. When I had this idea, Jennifer and I talked about it. Well, who should we go to that should do this? Right? We had that conversation. Vicky Bakery Coffee. We shouldn't do it. Someone big should do this. Well, if they're not doing it, so
they're funding it.
One of my favorite quotes is coordinate the uncoordinated.
Yeah.
If there's something you feel should be done and no one's doing it, do it.
I know, but it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
But I know
It doesn't any work at all.
I know, right? I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love. I know God called me, to do this work to help other people, because I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, right? But I know I wanted my sisters to come along with me, and it's great because when I go to the conferences now, it's like there she has a deal.
Yeah, there is a pitch competition that I went to last year, but you've gotten some major awards this year.
I did, yeah. So really exciting. I was chosen as Person of the Year for Lodging Magazine. So that was really cool because usually it's like a CEO of a major brand or some big investment group that's on the cover. So to be selected for the cover, to know that the industry is embracing the work that we're doing. What's even more exciting, I don't know if you know this because I know you've been busy, but we have 5 CEOs of major Fortune 100 companies coming. So the president of Hyatt, Hilton, IHG, Choice, and
good job.
who else is coming? I missed somebody.
I don't know, but I'm counting.
All of them. They're all coming.
So,
Wyndham.
questions. I know we're running out of time. Questions. Who's got questions for Tracy? Yes.
Oh, hi. Hi, Tracy.
you?
Good, thanks. I have a question. So when you're looking to get into a hotel property, if you're a hotelier, it's a passion of love. You're doing it because you're a hospitality professional and you want to welcome people. How do you decide whether to hold a property because you want to love the property, or how do you decide whether it's an asset that you want to get to profitability to sell?
Well, so I'm a syndicator, so I have to return money to the investor. So we generally underwrite for like a 5 to 6 year period. But I mean, there may be a scenario if you are able to buy right in the right conditions where you can do a refinance and pay back investors and hold on to the asset. I'm not that far along yet to do that, but I do, for the most part, intend to, cycle these properties. So we're actively looking for other opportunities.
Hey, I have a question. So you said that when you first started, you went for an SBA loan. But I thought that SBA you had occupied, so that's question number one. And I just want to make a statement. You are so inspiring. And to see what you were doing out of helping people, your time is so valuable. And I just want to commend you that, right, ladies? I mean, for you to see what you did. It sounds like it's a call from the Lord, so He equips you to do it for us.
Yeah, definitely.
If you have any interest, stream this pitch competition. I'm telling you, I walked out, I was just dumbfounded last year. It was amazing.
Yeah,
These girls were amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing to see women start from like, I don't know how to, I'm not good with finances. And the woman who won last year, do you remember her? Emma Claire, first day she's like, I'm not good with finances, but I want a hotel, I want to be a hotel owner. She was pitching up there. Industry leaders were coming up to me going, I want to take your master class. Because she was so good. But to answer your question, so hotels are real estate and an operating business. So that's why it qualifies for SBA, because it's an operating business and the business, is inside the building of the hotel. So that's why. But thank you for the comments too.
Okay, 2 more questions.
So did you do a cost study and bonus depreciation?
I just wasn't asked that. No,
I just can only imagine it's
yeah,
for a hotelier because you get to depreciate all the assets inside every single hotel.
Correct. Well, every vendor out there has approached us. We personally haven't done it yet. We have a ton of IRA investors, which is not as beneficial, but we need to do that. We absolutely need to do that.
Question, I'm sorry.
Cost seg, it's complicated,
Yeah.
I haven't done it either, but we're looking at it, right? One more question, one more.
Right here. Hi, Tracy. For your capital raising, are you doing accredited investors or non-accredited? How are you doing that?
So right now we have we have a Reg D 506C fund. That's a special case for targeting women-led projects that originate from the pitch competition. That's what Beth is a part of, and she's going to be judging that competition. But we've done 506Bs where we can take non-accredited as well. So we'll do both. I mean, we'll continue with different, funding mechanisms throughout. So if anybody's interested, definitely go to our website at shehasadeal.com and register. Even though right now we don't have anything active, very short order we will, continue to have some offerings available.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's give her a round of applause.
So stand up if you are interested in owning a hotel. Okay. Let's see. Sit down. No, stay standing up if you came from 500 miles or more.
Yeah, you did. Wisconsin is definitely more than 500. Okay, where are you from?
Puerto Rico. Goodness. Where are you from? Boston? Philadelphia. Okay. Now, we have an event coming up. Who remembers what date it is? Okay, so we got one here.
There we go, little prize.
So I brought, this is actually, we're going to be giving away swag bags. So all the contents are not what's going to be in this week, but you get the bag before anybody has seen the bag. They came to my house the day before I left. Okay, Let's see, what's another question I can ask? What kind of hotel was my first hotel that I syndicated? What?
Wait a minute, it's only for the people standing.
All right, what was my second hotel? What's that? No. Did you guys see the picture? I didn't know.
You didn't say it.
Okay, tell me one of the hotels that was in the picture. Did anybody look at the picture?
Courtyard?
Courtyard, who said it?
You didn't. Oh, good. All right, come on up. Let me. Okay, give this turn it up. All right, so, thank you. Thank you.